All right, let's see. See if this works. All right, looks like I am officially live. This is actually my first, no, second live stream. The first one I thought I was recording, but in reality I wasn't. I did a whole like 2 hour stream and thought I was recording the whole time and just wasn't. So hopefully you guys can see me. Hopefully I'm live here. I'm going to try and pull over the chat here so you can see it, and so I can see it. All right, so we've got a couple things that we're going to try and accomplish today. A few of them are, or the first one is we need to design a pool for a client. This client, as you can see, this is their home. Um, and we're going to try to build and design their backyard in a very budget friendly way. That is the number one goal, is to get them the pool that they want and the design that they want, in the budget that they want, which is as affordable as possible, which is most people. And so I figured that this would be a good opportunity for us to dive into this design together and really um, see what makes sense for this family. And if it makes sense for this family, then it may make sense for you. So I am going to get some water. When I come back, we're going to kick this thing off. It'll also help people kind of filter in, as the stream goes on. So, anyways, I will be back with some water, and then we can get into it. Alrighty, so here we go. Hold this up here. Take a sip, and we're going to remove my background here like this. That way, you guys can see the design in its entirety here. But first, let's do a quick intro. All right, everybody wants a backyard paradise. Now, the one thing that keeps everybody from getting this backyard paradise is not usually the space, it's not usually location or time or whatever it might be. It's budget, it's finances, it's how do I get the money to get it put into a backyard space when there's so many other things that you can put money towards. And honestly, the ability for people to put pools in their backyard is something that isn't super common, especially pools that are built to last, pools that are a genuine investment into your home. We see a lot of above ground pools, vinyl liner pools. These are a lot of temporary pools that don't bring any value. In fact, have a negative impact on your home's value. But it gets your family swimming, right? And so, getting your family swimming is super important, especially for people who have kids. Um, you only get so many summers with your kids, and so being able to have a pool in your backyard to really enjoy the summers and enjoy having your friends, kids come over, and just your home being the life of the party. This is what it's all about, right? Is creating a space to generate memories, and creating a space to relax, creating a space to recharge and refresh. There's something about being around water that we just want to like it's in our nature to want to be around water. And if you don't believe me, think about all the different places that people go to vacation. Every place that people go to vacation, or the most famous vacationing spots, have water integrated into the main scene. In fact, most people go for the water. Now, when we're talking water, this can be oceans, it can be lakes, it can be rivers, it can be so many different things that actually help satisfy our craving to be around water. Um, and and how do we get that into our backyards, right? And we're willing to pay money to have that in our backyards. Why is that? That's a good question. I'm a big coffee drinker. In fact, I've got coffee right here. Great coffee. I will also buy coffee out. You can just ask my wife. And why do I buy coffee out? Well, couple things. Caffeine is, yes, very addictive, but it's also very helpful in a lot of ways. It's helpful in the event that it gives you energy, it stimulates your brain so that you can go and perform at a higher level. And, you know, right now, coffees, they cost $5, and so I'm willing to pay $5 for a cup of coffee because I don't have the time to go take a 2 hour nap and come back recharged. I'm very busy, most like everybody else. And so I'm willing to pay $5 for that convenience of a little boost in energy or a boost in morale throughout my day. And pools are the same way, right? For a lot of families who are extremely busy, um, they've got soccer practice, they've got just think about families in general. They're so busy and they don't have time to load everybody up into the van or into the airplane and fly or drive somewhere to get their water, to get their escape. And so they're willing to pay $5 for a cup of coffee. It's the convenience factor of having that resort, that little piece of paradise in your backyard so that any day, any night, any evening, any weekend, you guys can sit back and enjoy God's creation, which is being around water, which we are designed to be around. In fact, in Proverbs or Psalms 23, it talks about God leading us beside quiet waters. Why is that important? Why is God choosing to take us beside a stream of water to relax us? Well, it's in our DNA. Chemically, our brains respond well to being around water. Whether we see it, hear it, feel it, we're going to really enjoy that time around it. So that's why I build swimming pools. That's why I design pools. That's why I help families get into them at the lowest level of investment as possible. However, I'm not going to do that at the detriment of their investment. And so we're going to jump in here and we're going to talk a little bit about um, how to build and design pools around a budget. I'm going to give several tips on how to keep the budget low, how to phase things in and out, a few things design wise that you're going to need to be thinking about when looking at building a pool in your backyard. And I'm going to show you a few things that you may have not considered as it relates to how to save money and how to still have some of that luxury feel inside your backyard. So let's jump into it and I'll kind of show you what we have going on. So right here, immediately you can see is a big house. It's a very nice house. This is a project I'm doing for a family, and they right now this is all that they have in their backyard space. It is a small, tiny patio, and they've got a nice, massive, big home. This is the 3D view. of our modeling software. I've duplicated the houses next to it to just kind of simulate the neighbors' houses. So we're operating off of this idea of, okay, this is our client's home. These blue lines are the property line on the outside. The inside is not the minimum building setback, but it's a public utility and drainage easement. This means, especially inside of developments, um, you need to have a certain amount of green space in between properties so that you can, like, water can effectively drain, and you're not just concreting the whole, development and causing all of these water problems and drainage problems. But there's plenty of green space to go around. The neighbor on their left has a full fence. The neighbor on their right does not. And that's going to be an important thing to note when we get to this design as well. So before we get too far in, we're going to jump into our 2D plan here. And we're going to pull up our client overview, right? Um, the Johnson's family. This isn't their actual name, but we're going to call them the Johnsons for now. All right, the Johnson family. Who are they? They're an empty nest. They're an empty nest couple waiting a calm or wanting a calm backyard retreat and light use and minimal upkeep. Um, so many times I sit down and I think, what is the best design? What is the most efficient design? What's the most practical, like, way to set things up? And it's so subjective. Um, but in my opinion, the best design is the one that meets the client's needs and what the client wants as it relates to lifestyle goals. And so I always, whenever I do a design consultation, I take extremely detailed notes and I mark exactly, like, this isn't even a portion of the notes that I take. I mean, it is like thousands and thousands and thousands of words just wrapped up into one um, overall summary explaining exactly who you are as a family and what you're trying to accomplish. Because if we're not starting there and we don't keep that in mind, we've completely missed the design as a whole. So, knowing who the Johnson family is and who we're building for is going to be one of the most, if not the most important part of the actual design. So, they're an empty nest couple wanting a calm, easy backyard retreat with light use and minimal upkeep. Their lifestyle goals: they want to relax over recreation. They need a space for two lounge chairs and a quiet evening outdoors. Prefer shade over sun. They want it comfort and simplistic. Um, so relaxation. It's only going to be a few of them, and they like shade, right? Their top priorities: they want ease of maintenance, comfortable seating, and they like the thought of integrating an electric heater chiller into this project. So, ease of maintenance, they don't want to be cleaning more than they're swimming, which I understand is an important thing to keep top of mind. The comfortable seating, this is in as it relates to the in pool seating. Are there benches? Is there tanning ledges? Are there steps that they can sit on? What kind of seating are they wanting? Just some additional notes in here. They may want a handrail for easy entry in and out. They are getting older, or if they have older guests come over, they want to keep that in mind, keep safety in mind. They're a bit fair skinned. They don't like to just lay out in the sun like a lot of people do. They like to be a little bit more shaded and protected by the sun. Safety is a big concern. They've got neighbors with a lot of younger kids, and so keeping the pool protected is a must and is required by codes. And so that's an easy thing for us to accomplish. The backyard has a gentle slope on both sides. The home to the right is above them. Their home to the left is below them. And so you kind of have this stair step effect of terrain. And I'll show you that here in a little bit. Once again, equipment features that they want, and just the style summary. They want to keep things low key, timeless. They're not looking for anything that's like making a huge point, but his wife did say she wanted like 25% pizzazz. I don't know what that means, but we're going to help get that for them. 25% pizzazz, here we come. And so this is the Johnson family. We will refer back to this plenty of times during the build. So going back to here, you can kind of see the terrain, how it slopes down from the neighbor on the right, moving all the way over to another slope here, going down to the neighbor on their left. Their neighbor on their left does actually have a pool over here. And so privacy is a big issue here. There's no trees, there's nothing actually separating these two homes from being seen, from seeing each other. So we may want to keep privacy as a part of the conversation here. The first place that we start on every project is one, the layout. We're going to work on the layout of this project. We want things to flow. We want things to feel balanced. We want things to feel symmetrical and on purpose. We want things to feel like we want this backyard space to feel like it was designed along with their home. We want it to feel like it's a part of their home. It's the outdoor living part. And I think a lot of families underestimate the actual value behind building out their outdoor space because they think, when they think living space, they think indoors. And I promise you, like, once you build something that's of value behind your home and you start working on the outdoor living portions of your property, you will spend more time outside. You will spend more time outside. You will start living outside more than what you would on the inside of your property if you do it right. Now, weather is also a thing. We live in Tennessee. I'm designing in Tennessee. That's where a lot of my clients are. And so thinking about being outside all the time is not the greatest because our weather is up and down all the time. So keeping that in mind, we need some elements of warmth. We need some elements of coolness. We need some elements of shade. We need some elements of exposure. We need to be able to accommodate a huge variety of different climates, or not climates, but elements of being outdoors. So with that in mind, let's get designing. Jump into our 2D here. And whenever I start designing, especially when we're talking about pools being on a budget, we're going to jump in here and I'm going to first thing put the pool in that they were looking at. And the pool that they were most interested in was the Olympia 14. However, I'm going to see, because there's only two of them, I'm going to see if there's a smaller model, and there is. There's an Olympian 12, or an Olympia 12. And I'm going to look for this 14 here so we can see kind of the difference in sizing. All right, so you can kind of see the difference in sizing here. You're losing about 2 feet on the sides and about 4 feet on the end, which is a big difference, and it's not a big difference at the same time. When you're talking pools, you really want to start with how many people are going to be in the pool at one given time. Do you have young kids? Do you have a lot of young adults? Do you have, like, are you a partier? Are you wanting to host a lot? Do you have a huge family with a lot of grandkids? Or, what's the max capacity of people you're going to typically have in this pool at once? And also, I want to ask you a question of, when was the last time you were in a pool with a lot of people and thought to yourself, this is a small pool? It's rare. People don't think about the size of the pool hardly ever. They are thinking about how much fun they're having and just being grateful to just cool off in the backyard. And so, um, size of the pool will be important to meet needs. If you've got like teenagers and just kids being crazy, and you're wanting to kind of relax and lounge, then maybe you want to go with a bigger pool. That way you can sit on one end and relax and get your crazy kids on the other end. So here is the Corinthian 14, and I'll jump into our 2D here. Take off waterline tile, take off coping with fiberglass. This is a fiberglass pool, by the way. Fiberglass, you don't do any waterline tile, which is what you would see on like custom shotcrete pools. It's the waterline, it's the tile that runs right below the coping. This is the coping here. And you can kind of see how this lines up with their family's back porch. And we'll bring it in to a little bit closer here. So your pool model is going to be the biggest factor as it relates to like cost savings. There are some things, luckily, with this family, we're not having to deal with that with as much, and that would be like elevation. So in the event that this was being built on a slope like this, we would have to integrate some retaining wall. And thankfully this family does not have to integrate any kind of land retaining wall, any kind of maneuvering soils or anything like that. It's simply just dig a hole and haul it away. So that in itself, having a flat yard is one of the biggest advantages to saving money. All right. So now that we've got our pool, we're going to move on to the next thing, which is going to be the hardscape. And now when we are talking design, when we're talking layout, when we're talking functionality, um, we do want to keep things as symmetrical as possible and kind of keep layout in mind here. And so I'm just going to throw a rectangle out for now. As you can see, it's framed up very nicely with this middle window here. And if they're inside eating dinner, drinking their coffee, it's cold outside, it's snowing outside, they don't want to go outside, but they can still enjoy their pool from inside by looking at it. So that's why we want to keep accurately mark where all the windows are. This is their master in this far right corner, and their kitchen is in the far left. Or I'm sorry, their kitchen's on the right, their bedroom's on the far left. And then this is like their living space. And so this is perfectly in line with their inside viewing. Okay. I think we're going to move forward with this location here. In fact, we may be able to, let's just see what it looks like to pull the concrete all the way to the patio. And this provides, I'm kind of liking this because it does provide a lot of space in the front of the pool for traveling, for just moving if they wanted to throw some chairs up right here or finish putting, chairs on this rug area to kind of bring in some more of the conversation. There's plenty of space here to add and subtract any kind of elements that they want to integrate or move. Typically, we would do what's called just like a planter strip running from an existing slab to the new pool deck area. So we would do something like this. And we would bring the planter strip into these two areas and put some plants in. And that separates the two spaces. Um, Planter strips, sidewalks, um, flower beds, retaining walls. These are like ways of putting a rug into a space like this. Like it helps define spaces. Just like how, when we're looking at this backyard, this is how they've already got set up. This rug right here is telling you this is the seating area. This is not the cooking area. The cooking area is over here. This is the seating area. And so just like how we use outdoor rugs to tell you what this space does, we do the same thing with planter strips. And we can separate two spaces just by adding a little pathway and saying, okay, we're going to take this planter strip, bring it up here, go boom, divide, bring this up. And I'm just pulling this planter strip in so you guys can see what I'm talking about as it relates to like providing more of a separation here. And especially once we add plants, this kind of makes it feel almost like you're um, experiencing the backyard. And and yeah, that's an important thing. I lost my chat. Here it is. Yeah, so you're experiencing the backyard, and one of my goals is to create a space where you really feel like it's a story. Um, so yeah, creating these two separations can be helpful. And I do remember her saying when we were on site was to hold on, my screen's all messed up over here. Here we go. And I do remember her saying basically her neighbor has a pool, and it's has a ton of concrete around it, and it's all connected, and it kind of feels like a parking lot. And we don't want our designs to feel like parking lots. We want them to feel like you're walking through the woods and you find this little piece of paradise that no one knows about, and it's all yours. And so that's the hope, is we can give that to families. So right here, I'm going to pull well, let's decide on this pathway here. I think because we're thinking about cost, keeping cost in mind, let's, for now, just keep it connected. Um, let's just keep it connected. We'll keep about 6 feet of space um, in between the pool and the existing structure. So that's about 6 feet. And I know that they do want some lounging space. They want to be able to sit and enjoy like two. I think they said one or two lounge chairs, um, and they wanted some in-pool seating. Let's go back here. All right, top priorities: maintenance, and then underwater benches or steps instead of large tanning ledges. This definitely satisfies that. There's plenty of in-pool seating. Okay. Next would be um, they prefer shade over sun. All right, so let's jump back into our 3D here. Now they've got shade here. So this does provide a lot of shade. And so they can sit out here in their chairs and enjoy the pool from underneath their back patio. But Is that enough? Is this what the lounging space would be? Would the lounge chairs be over here, or are we thinking that it would be in another spot? We also need to consider the neighbors as well. And so if we put the lounge chairs on this side of the pool, you've got your next door neighbors kind of looking down on you and can see everything that's going on in your backyard area. Now, if we put the pool chairs on this side, it's less invasive, I guess you could say. Uh, their house or our client's house is sitting up higher than this neighbor's house. Therefore, it's going to be a little bit harder for their neighbors to look into their property. And so I would say that for sunbathing purposes, because of where the sun is and where their neighbors are, we should put the tanning and lounge space on the right side of the pool here. You know what? I'm actually going to look up. I'm going to look up like prefabricated pavilions and kind of see what dimensions are for these things. Something like that is nice. This is nice. Let's go to shop and see shopping. 14 by 16, 14 by 16, 14 by 18. It's kind of nice. 12 by 24, 14 by 28. We have to keep the decking down. The amount of concrete that we're putting in, we have to keep that in mind when we're when we're building something like this on a budget. That's the whole goal of this is to get these people what they're wanting inside of something that's cost effective. But I could go in here and I could say we're doing this, 20 by 30 concrete patio, and just find someone to build you a pavilion, and you're all good. No, I'm going and doing the research and saying, hey, look, I found you um, these prefab pavilions. They're on average 4 grand, and their traditional sizes are 14 by 16 or 12 by 20 or whatever it is. Like 12 by 20 for and $2,000 for this gazebo. That's a good deal. I feel like 12 by 20. It's pretty spacious. Um, so let's do just do 12 by 20 here and see about how much these cost. I don't know if Walmart is the best place to get a 12 by 20 structure, but I think something like this is actually could actually be the right move. So 12 by 20 outdoor, it's wood, it's got a galvanized steel. Like this is the move. So we're gonna go 13 by 21 just to kind of provide some space here. And I need to measure this. That way I can just kind of see where center is. So I'm trying to center the pavilion with the pool. Now, is 12 by, okay, is that too big? Is 12 by 20 too big? I think it might be too big for this family. Let's reevaluate here because now I'm thinking it's mainly the two of them. We could do a portion covered and then we could do a portion uncovered as well. in the event that they wanted to pull their chairs out from underneath the covering, they could. So it was like a 12 by 16. So you're going to find, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. You're not going to really find any like odd stuff like 13 and 15. Those are pretty uncommon. Most of the lumber that you're going to be buying is in like 8 foot, 12 foot, 16 foot sections. Um, and so we're going to bring this down to 16 here. We'll go 16. 12 by 16. And something like this. Super nice. Yeah. I mean, they've even got it next to a pool. I mean, that's perfect. So, 12 by 16 all cedar. I mean, this is a good deal. This is, and it's got spot for power. That's great. So we're gonna roll with this. We'll make this their covering. And what we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and build this for them. 12 by 16. We're gonna make it just the roof. And we're gonna pull this roof up here. See, jump back in here. And it's got 2 gable ends, no gutters, no ceiling. Um, that's kind of open there. Let's go up here, go roof, gable this, gable that, and that's looking pretty good. We're gonna bring this down. The actual roof line is the 12 by 16. So it says 10 by 14, but the actual roof line, like the envelope of the roof, is the 12 by 16. And so this is nice because it also is going to bring some shade into the pool. Yeah, I'm actually liking this. This is good. All right, let's see how tall this is. Max, it's 10 feet tall. To the roof line, it's 7 feet. So we're gonna jump in here, and we're gonna measure. We're gonna measure from. Okay, that's not exact, but we do need to drop this like a foot. Oh, let's get the measurements right there. All right, so that's 7 foot. And they've got like this kind of dark wood. I'm sure that they could stain this that same color or keep it. They've got this whiskey barrel. It's kind of nice. All right, so we're going to go into custom shapes here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just recreate this structure. This is 7 feet tall. We'll just go 7.6. And we're going to pull this down into here. And we're going to pull this out to something like this. Pull it in, pull it down, pull it in. Something like that. Looks great. And we're just going to copy it and we're going to pull it over here. Just copying, pasting, building this out. We will eventually start working with some of the materials on this because I know that the roof is not a shingle roof on this pavilion. It's a metal roof. And all those little details do matter. So that looks nice. We're going to pull this over. And we're just trying to recreate something that's similar to this. I'm not going to go as detailed as going with, this same, this same like canter, but we're just gonna do something very basic, very similar to this, and see how that goes. Bring this in. Bring this in. Bring this in. Something like that. That looks kind of nice. I don't think we need another one. But what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this and pull it over to this other side. It's all about, creating the vision for the family. I might be able to say, oh, we can put a pergola on this side of the property and give you this, but they may be thinking, or a pavilion, they might be thinking a pergola. They may be thinking about something that doesn't have a roof. They might be thinking about, who knows what, a carport. Um, and uh, and so being able to design it and build it, even though this isn't what we're building or selling, this is what is helping them see the vision for the pool space. The pool is already in the ground. That's what we do. But in order to show, the vision in the future for what this place could be, you do have to build it out. And that's a big part of how families are actually getting pools in their backyard is they're saying, okay, I don't need everything all at once. I don't need the pavilion. I don't need all the landscaping, the flower beds. Like, I'm going to start with what's the most important and the most expensive. We're going to get that in first, and then we're going to focus on the other pieces and aspects. But your pool needs to be designed to in preparation for those things down the road. You don't want to be putting a pool in a spot where you're planning on putting a pavilion or a flower bed, and you don't want to get to that time and be like, dang, I wish that pool was a little bit over to the left so I could put a structure there. I think this is nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select all this, and we're going to deselect the concrete. Boom. Wait, is that the concrete? Or yeah, that's the concrete. And we're going to group it together. Boom. We're going to take the concrete and we're going to merge this together. So this all one. All right, looks good. Looks super good. Now where do we go from here? Do we want to see? Do we want to play with this possible landscaping strip in the front? We could do one strip in the middle. We could do two strips and have like a little fun little planter bed in the center. I don't know. I feel like the more I'm looking at it, the more it makes sense to just have everything together, and we find out a way to define more spaces. Like this is a defining structure. This tells you very clearly, oh, this is where you sit. This is where you hang out and get out of the sun. It's very defining. And we're gonna take this, group this all back. All right, I think we've got the structure and the layout. So I think the layout's done. The next thing is functionality. Now, we've already been focusing on functionality with this defining space, um, but this the functionality part is always going to be important when it relates to as it relates to everything, whether it's staging or layout or pool type. I'm even thinking about how I wish that these stairs were on this other side, to kind of create an easier in and out from the lounging area. Now, it does have some really nice entry steps right here, which is a huge advantage. And there's also an advantage to having the pool steps or the major steps on this side, because you can be sitting on these big steps and feel like you're still participating in what's happening underneath the pavilion. All right, what's next? Safety. Safety is the next part of this conversation. And when I say safety, I mean safety for the homeowner and safety for from the neighbors. So it is by law, you are required to have a 4 foot barrier to your pool space. And so they've got a pretty decent sized yard. Now the advantage to this is their neighbor already does have a fence in place. And so we can tap into this. Oh, so let me start with here. We've got two options. We can fence in just the pool area, and that's going to be the least, it's going to be more affordable to do that. Or they can decide to fence in their whole property like their neighbor has done, which would be an advantage because now you're including your full space and you get to use the full length of their fence as a barrier. So that we would just connect here, we'd pull out this way, and then run down these two lengths. I mean, it would be a little bit more of an investment, but you don't block yourself off from the rest of the yard. You don't want to make your yard feel smaller. You want it to feel like it's a very expansive yard, and we want to keep that feel because it's rare that you have that kind of expansive feel nowadays when it comes to people's properties. So let's go ahead and build a fence. We're gonna go here to here. And we're gonna come off 3 feet from here. Go 6 foot. We can actually go to their property line and then come up all the way up and just kind of run at an angle here and call it a day. Now, when we're talking railings going into the pool, we have two different types of railings that you can choose. You can choose a metal handrail, which is great. It's like your most traditional pool handrail. It needs to be bonded to the pool area and the pool equipment um, because it reduces the risk of electric shock. And then the other is a composite handrail. The composite ones can be added down the road, but all the metal ones need to be decided and installed at time of construction. And I think we've got more in here somewhere. Hmm, I can't find it. Okay, so let's jump out of here and we'll go um, handrail. Same thing. All right, so let's just go. So a lot of people are doing something like this, something that helps you like get up and out of the pool, or you can move it to this other side here and make it a bit more accessible, but it would block off some of your pool space or walk space. One thing that's nice about these that have the curves on the end is you can actually hold on to the actual hook part and and get in and out of the pool. All right, so safety, I would say safety is marked off. Now we're moving on to landscape and lighting. Landscape is a huge, huge part of this conversation. Um, it is one of the most important, in my opinion, because it brings the space to life. We've got some main like planter strip areas that should be considered. One is this one right here in front of their bedroom window, and then they've got one in front of their kitchen window here. Um, Keeping it more budget friendly, you would want to keep the planter strips down because you don't want to plant too much. It's just cost, it's more cost to everything. Now, they do have, like I remember saying, this family can look down on their property and see them. So we may want to integrate some privacy plants along this railing here or along the backside of this of the shade. Let's see. Panels. Yeah, like a decorative panel, like something like this. But I don't want it to be too noisy. Leaves, diamond, burst, blocks, bubbles, flame. I think I kind of like this one, maybe? What does this even look like? Oh, that's kind of nice. I'm sure that they can put something like this on the backside of their space, just to help with privacy. It's nice too. It's nice too. Retro. Nice. That's kind of nice. But I don't think it's them. I think it's this right here. This, to me, is them. So I'm just going to select all these. And we're going to bring them in here. Here. I like that. They kind of doesn't make you feel like too closed off, and we don't need to plant super massive bushes over here, but it could be advantageous for us to almost like wrap this around still. Like this. Bring this in to here. And we're gonna divide it here, divide it here, bring this in, and we're gonna pull this in here, pull this out. This is a more private part of their home, so I don't want to like make this a seating space necessarily, but I do feel like it's kind of asking for something. I don't think we have to add anything there, but it does kind of seem like it would be a good spot for like a fire pit area or something. I don't know. Maybe they could expand their outdoor kitchen into the space. All right, mainly with lighting here. Let's jump into the lighting. And we're gonna add some pool lights. Pool lights are always a foot below, and for some pools, it's either a pool that has one light, or it has two lights, or it has three lights. It all just depends. They are color changing, so you can kind of see them get lit up here. We want them to face away from the house, that way you don't have lights shining into your home. Now, she did say she wanted a little bit more pizzazz, and so let's go ahead and integrate some deck jets here. Deck jets are super cool. Super fun way to bring a water element into your project at a pretty affordable price. Yeah, that's nice. Just trying to create a little bit more privacy for them, like this. That way, they're not having to look at their neighbor's project or property. And we can add some plants in here. Boxwood is a good, very common, affordable plant. And we're gonna go 5. We're gonna bring this in here. Select all of these and space them out accordingly. And we'll actually push them in a tad. That's good. And we'll do the same on this side. Now the question is, do we need anything here? Maybe we just put plants on, we leave this whole space open and then just put plants next to the pergola or pavilion, like this. I like it. Then we'll go planter strip, jump into our 2D here, and we're gonna do just two planter strips, one on each side of this pavilion. And this will kind of box in this space a little bit better. And I really like these Japanese hollies. They're pretty popular here in Tennessee. But they just kind of like they're not super big, they're not super like thick and like luscious, but they, once again help define the space, and they look really cool lit up, and they can cast some really cool shadows if done properly. Let's start with these lights here. I'm not a huge fan of like the fluorescent lights. Don't want it to be shining into their home. I do want it to light up the face of the bushes though. I just feel like that's too bright, right in their window. So maybe we go with something like this. That is super nice. I think these are technically like path lights, but it keeps um, all the light usage just kind of down. I don't want I don't want to be blinding these people in their home. Looks nice. And maybe we do something similar here. Pull this over here. Now, I'm going to be shocked if they don't have some kind of lighting up underneath here. So I'm going to find just like a basic ceiling fan with a light and plug it in here because I'm pretty sure that they've got a ceiling fan in here. I could be wrong, but most newer homes now have some kind of ceiling fan for light. Let's talk landscape lighting back here on these plants, the Japanese hollies. We may have to go with the same kind of lantern vibes. When we're doing lighting, I'm thinking about a couple things, and one is always, how is this? What is this illuminating, and then what is this kind of like shading? And so I want to definitely keep that in mind when you know integrating these lights. Mm-hmm. Yes, nice. And then what about under here? Can we do some string lights underneath this pavilion? How do I get this audio down on this item? Looping scale? No. I guess we have to listen to water feature, which isn't the worst thing. All right, so let's go back into lights, and I'm gonna pull string light. So string lights are not always my go-to lighting option, but they are when it comes to budget conversations. Um, I think string lights are a great way to light up a space in a creative way while keeping budget in mind. I would recommend not letting them like droop too much. You want them to kind of just be a little bit more taut, more it just gives off a little bit more of a professional feel. Yeah, something like that. That looks super nice. And we're just going to select all these. Copy. Or shift. Push this over. Yeah, that looks super good. And we'll take some across the front as well. Run this to full length. Like that. And I'm wondering if we should take some along this back side or leave it on the back side. Let's see what that does for this divider. See how this privacy divider looks with some lighting next to it. If it looks weird, then we'll just do. Hmm, I don't know. I kind of like it. Does that just make it feel more complete? I wonder. It might feel too bright underneath there, but we can adjust the materials on the inside to make it not seem so. So let's just leave it like that for now. Um, I think it looks really neat in the dusk. I think that's really going to be attractive to them. All right, so now that we've got lighting and plants figured out, we are moving on to staging. So let's go staging. Staging is probably one of my favorite parts of it. You get to drag and drop a lot of really cool items, furniture, whatever it is. You can just plug it in and kind of let it fuel just the let your creativity flow is what I'm trying to say. So let's jump into items here. We're going to go to furniture and we're going to start building this out here. So these chairs are always a hit. Everybody loves these chairs here. And these chairs could go great at the end. Or we could add concrete down here and put these chairs down here. How much concrete do we have? 575. I probably don't want to add any. I want to stay underneath 600 for sure. But they said maybe 2 lounge chairs. And so let's see where these lounge chairs could go. Just keep this somewhere for now. Put them in the grass. Lounge chairs. Got a couple options. This is already kind of like their dark wood tone aesthetic. So they may like that, but I also want to give them a lounge chair that's a little bit easier to get in and out of. Let's see if I can find one. Here we go. Let's see. How should we design this? Hmm, hmm, hmm. I'm trying to find a specific lounge chair here. This is the one that I'm looking for. I mean, they could do 3 full lounges underneath here if they wanted. Or they do 2 and they put in like some kind of seat. Or table for eating underneath here if they wanted. It's actually a good idea. Let's see if we can find there's a table and chairs. Almost like a bar table. Bar table height. Bar table. Bar table. Hmm. They may not be bar height type people. They might be just table people. Ooh, a fire pit area actually underneath there could be kind of cool. I just don't know if there's enough space to. I don't want this to feel cramped underneath here. Ooh, you know what? They've got some hanging chairs that are actually super neat. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but almost something like this. It won't take up too much space. It's a bit nicer, but it's a little too big. It's a little too small. Delete, bring this down. Still too big? I don't know. This is kind of nice because it does. Let's bring this way. Is too much? That's the question. Let's see what that does for the space. I mean, that's kind of nice. Or hanging daybed. That could actually be fire. Let's see. See what this even looks like. I don't know. Is this too much? Could be too much. Hmm. I'm really struggling with what to put in there. I think I might go back to the hanging chairs, the eggs. They do kind of add some privacy. Maybe we just do one. Hmm. Is this a bad idea to put a table near the swinging chairs? I think I swing into it and knock it over. Decisions, decisions. Is that better? I almost think this is better. I honestly have not even seen this before. But what I like about the this furniture is it does kind of it helps with the privacy too. Hmm. Side tables. Find one that fits. All these little details matter. They really do. Some color, like put some color in here. All right, let's go all the way down here and let's look at these curtains really quick. And curtains are yet another thing that can really elevate a space unknowingly. All right, so what's next? What's next? What's next? Okay, curtains. That's what I was doing. Pillows are also another big thing. Integrating some color is always helpful. They do kind of strike me more as a red, white, red, maybe. It's kind of nice. Rotate this thing back. Boom. 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 Like that. We'll do another one on this one. Just like that. Looks good. White, beige. Is beige the move or is black the move? Black, blue, red. Ugh. Kind of risky, I feel like. Is this too risky? Let's take it down 85. Still kind of risky. I don't know. 80? Okay, the smaller it gets, the better I feel. It's not as overwhelmingly there, I guess you could say. The lights be on the inside or the outside? I guess the lights would be on the inside. Right? I might be doing too much. All right, so I think we are just about done. Let's take these chairs, delete these. I really like this space. I think this fits their needs well. Let's see if we can't figure out a way to, I don't know, should we figure out a way to get the decking down a little bit more? Let's bring this, let's bring this other pool back in. I mean, this is definitely the move. I feel like we've found a really great option for them. All right, we do need to work with the materials now. So let's jump back in here. Let's find our, okay, what kind of roof is this? We ultimately get to pick, but okay, it looks like it's just a traditional metal roof. But I know that there's some roofs out there that you can go with like a metal, standing metal seam. This. And we'll do this is as the same. And with this, go to wood. We'll see if we can find some tongue and groove for the ceiling. Ooh, that's actually kind of really nice. This. Ooh, yeah, that looks good. Okay, hold on. We're cooking. We're cooking. Here we go. I mean, that looks so good. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's some warmth right there. All right, now to do pool interior. We're gonna go to here, and we may try like the ocean blue, 50%, which is just a nice blue color. Hmm. Or sapphire blue, night sky, at 50. Just rich, dark color. Well, I think this is it. I think this is our design. So we've pretty much checked off every box that we've set before us. We'll jump back into our 2D here and make sure we didn't miss anything. Client overview. The Johnsons. Empty nest couple wanting a calm, easy backyard retreat with light use and minimal upkeep. I mean, if that's not the design that we just built, I don't know what is. Relaxation over recreation, space for 2 lounge chairs, and quiet evening outdoors. Prefer shade over sun, want comfort and simplicity. Easy to maintain, simple system, minimum effort, comfortable seating, underwater benches or steps, seating inside of a large tanning ledge, possibly heating and chilling option that's on the equipment pad. Additional notes, may want a handrail. Who knows? We've got a composite one that they can do now or later down the road. They're fair skinned, limited sun exposure. They want a place to hang out and chill. Safety, they need some kind of fence to secure the pool. And then we've accounted for the slopes in their backyard. We've got all the equipment that they want. And yeah, low key, timeless, and easy to maintain functional layout with soft landscaping, touch of luxury through lighting and shade features. Let's see. Boom. I think that's it. I love this. This is I think exactly what they're going to be looking for. Hopefully. All right, that is it. This is how you This is how you design a pool on a budget. I try to go live every Friday. I know this isn't Friday, but I try to go live every Friday or Wednesday to show you guys exactly how to build out a structure like this with budget in mind. We've got other projects coming down the road where we might be able to get a little bit more fun with it and get a little bit more creative on the theme and the style and the design. But as it relates to something that's simple and budget and cost effective, cost friendly, you're really not going to be designing too much, but you're going to lean into the simpleness of it, um, the sleek design, the minimalistic design aspects of a pool. It doesn't have to be this grand pool with a lazy river and all these crazy water features and water slides, but it can be something very simple that really just ties the pool to your um, backyard space, drawing you outside. I mean, you can just see in this design how um, you've completely expanded your outdoor living to where you've got a place to cook outside, you've got a place to sit outside, you've got a place to lounge outside, you've got a place to swim and activities, and you can now enjoy not just your inside space, but also your outside space. And so I'm just very excited to show them this. I might throw some cornhole boards on this side of the pool to show them that they've just got this open space to use. But overall, I'm just really proud of the space, and I can't wait to, yeah, to see what their reactions are. If you like this video, if you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would like for you to be a part of that accomplishment. So thank you so much. Hit that like button and follow for more.